Let's look at the global wheat picture. I showed you this chart for corn, now for wheat. You notice the blue bars there is global stocks in terms of days of supply. And we're just shy of 100, about 128 days supply. If you take out the United States and China, we're closer to about a 64-day supply. Not running out of wheat, but that's getting closer to a hand-to-mouth supply. And so wheat is in an improving position. Today's report looked bearish when you look at those world numbers. But once you take China and U.S. out of the picture, not so much. Now, you can't just take the United States out because we are a significant factor. But the rest of the world is not quite the surplus that it was in. Notice how it is trending lower. And so here again, less bearish than what we've been. When we look at the winter wheat ratings, they are starting to turn lower as we're really starting to see that storms, the snow in the western plains and the rains that we saw in the Midwest starting to take their toll on the crop. As we look at this crop, I saw some comments by Dr. James Schroyer, retired from Kansas State University, been out to look at the wheat. And I think he makes some excellent points, is that wheat was largely laid over. Some of it was stems are snapped, some of it they were kinked, some of it they were bent. Now the natural reaction of the plant, and keep in mind wheat is a weed, and it's going to have its defenses to try to come back, and so it's releasing now hormones, growth hormones, to turn that stem higher to get the head up off the ground and pointing toward the sun. That's fine as long as we have very favorable weather. If we start putting a little bit of stress on that plant with some warmer temperatures and drier air, we could have some premature death of the plant. We could have some shriveled kernels, just not feeling well. So we'll probably see a wide variety there of things affecting this market going forward and the yield potential we have. Weather is really going to matter in the weeks ahead. The bottom graphic you see there for this week of the year, what the condition index score was for the winter wheat this week of the year. And you can see that from a historical standpoint, this crop is still pretty good. It is trending lower. And of course, the blue line there is final yield, except for this year, it's estimated yield. But you see that we are trending lower, but yet it's still pretty good. So watch that. When you look at today's data on anticipated harvested wheat acreage, Kansas was down 1 million acres of wheat. They're expected to be down 1.3 million in harvested acres. So it says a little bit something there about what USDA sees happening in abandonment. Nearly everywhere across the country reducing their harvested acres this year. When we look at yields, similar pattern, down significantly, 15 bushels in Kansas, down 8 in Missouri, 6 in Oklahoma, and across the board just about we're being down on our winter wheat yields this year. When we apply this by class to class, and in this case we see the orange bar is the 2017-18 marketing year, and those are my estimates and what I foresee happening, not USDA's, mine. The rest of them are USDA's, that's mine. I do see a little bit of a downward trend here in terms of days of supply for hard red winter and hard red spring, more significantly for hard red spring. I see soft red winter wheat stocks continuing to be burdensome. If you put it all together, and I want to draw attention here now to this column right here, this blue column, 2017-18. The yellowish column is USDA's numbers calling for 914 million bushels, marketing your average cash price at 4.25. I do not estimate marketing your average cash price for wheat because the correlations are just too poor with U.S. fundamentals. But you see my bottom line is 896 million. I'm a little bit more optimistic than is USDA But that's still a lot of wheat. It is less bearish. It is less bearish to the point where we could see the funds come in and cover their short positions if the environment were to become more conducive for the commodity sector as a whole. There is no reason here, though, to suggest that rationing with higher prices is necessary. Take-home points. Excuse me. Today's report was full of surprises, but the market reaction was rather muted.